Hi, this is my audience. Okay. The Journal of Athletic Training stated in 2024 that over 2 million children play American football within the United States annually. As you can see here, I know that 83% of you who participated in my audience analysis survey have also played sports growing up. I myself have been an athlete for as long as I can remember, so I understand the importance of starting a sport young. But when a sport has so much potential for long-term risk, should we take the same approach when allowing our children to play it? Today, I hope to persuade you all that children under the age of 12 should not be allowed to play tackle football. First, I will walk you all through some of the major problems with playing tackle football at such a young age, and then I will propose a solution. Children today are being exposed to an extremely physical sport at an especially young age. Some of the most well-known injuries associated with tackle football are head injuries. In fact, the Journal of Athletic Training stated in 2024 that tackle football is associated with the highest number of TBI-related emergency department visits among boys 17 and under. Traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs, occurring at such a young age among such a wide age range of boys shows us how dangerous this sport already is. Now imagine how dangerous it is for a younger child. Not only are traumatic brain injuries a cause of concern, but the long-term effects of these injuries should be brought to our attention as well. According to a 2019 publication from the Seminars in Pediatric Neurology, the younger the age of first exposure to football is associated with worse, later life neuropsychiatric function. As you can see here, this was part of this study done by the same publication from the Seminars of Pediatric Neurology. And this was done on 214 football players ranging from high school, college, and professional levels. Players who began playing tackle football before the age of 12 are the ones in the white over here. All of these people exhibited greater reported symptoms of apathy, depression, behavioral dysregulation, and executive dysfunction. This shows us that across the board, children who start playing tackle football younger develop symptoms later in life that can't necessarily be seen while they're playing this sport at a young age. It also shows us that playing or starting later doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to be less successful at the sport. We need to begin taking accountability for what we are allowing the future generations of Oklahomans to go through, and we need to make sure we're setting them up for success later in life. Not only is there a potential for neurological problems associated with tackle football at a young age, but also the sport was not created to be played by such a young group of people. If you take a look at this picture here, this was part of a study done by the Journal of Biomechanics in 2021. This, on the left, we have a child between the ages of 5 to 9, and on the right, we have a child between the ages of 9 and 14. This study was done to study the brain trauma exposure between these two age groups while they were playing tackle football. If you look at the child on the left, you'll notice how disproportionate he is when compared to just a slightly older child. This automatically sets him up to be less successful in the sport and creates more danger for him while he's playing it. It makes him more prone to falling, it makes his head impacts more traumatic, and it also makes him more prone to concussions and long-term problems such as CTE. According to the Journal of Children's Rights in 2018, CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy, creates problems with thinking and memory, including memory loss, confusion, impaired judgment, and eventually progressive dementia. A child shouldn't be exposed to a sport with so many long-term risks any earlier than they need to be. Now that we understand some of the major issues with starting tackle football before the age of 12, I would like to propose a solution to you all. As of 2018, the Journal of Children's Rights stated that only 4 states have bills regarding, even proposed bills regarding tackle football and what age it should be played amongst young children. And as of today, Oklahoma has yet to even propose a bill of the sort. This fact is alarming. The risks and the research are out there, and yet our legislative body is doing nothing to protect our future generations. I propose that with the children of Oklahoma's welfare in mind, we create a bill that bans the playing of tackle football before the ages of 12. This would ensure that a child is more developed before stepping into such a dangerous sport, and it would also give the child time to decide if playing tackle football was something they truly desired to do, instead of a parent putting them into the sport prematurely and potentially exposing them to the long-term risks associated with it. I understand that legislative action may seem extreme to some, but when we look at other sports such as the US Soccer, USA Hockey, and US Lacrosse, all of these organizations have regulations put in place to protect their younger players. U.S. Soccer doesn't allow headbutting until the age of 11. USA Hockey doesn't allow checking until the age of 13. And U.S. Lacrosse doesn't allow certain checks until 14U. Unfortunately, the problem with football isn't the regulations for these young divisions, it's the tackling itself. The tackling is what's creating these long-term problems, and so unfortunately there's not a regulation you can put in place to prevent those injuries. To wrap things up, I would like to recap my main reasons for being against tackle football being played before the age of 12 and my proposed solution. Overall, children should not be playing tackle football before the age of 12 because of the long-term effects associated with playing prematurely, including, but they're not limited to, apathy, depression, behavioral dysregulation, and even CTE. Younger children aren't as developed, and this makes them more prone to injuring themselves and others while playing tackle football. In order to combat this, I propose that Oklahoma passes a bill that bans the playing of tackle football before the age of 12. This would ensure development could take place free from any of the trauma that is associated with playing tackle football at such a young age. As Oklahomans, we have a responsibility to protect the future generations of our state, and I hope today you will take this one small step with me to ensure their safety. Thank you. Okay, this is my audience.